If you want to financially win in the new year of 2025, you have to start making adequate planning beginning from the very last month of the previous year. And so it's not a mistake that you fell onto this video. I want you to stick around and let me tell you what you have to do to prepare to win financially for the new year 2025. Stay tuned, guys. The very first thing you want to make sure that you are in the know is to assess your financial stand. Look at your income, look at your expenses, look at what your bills entail, look at where your money is coming in from, how much is coming in, how stable are these income sources, and look at how much you're spending, how much is actually going out, and then look at what is left behind. You also want to adequately make sure that you're checking your savings. You also want to make sure that you're looking at your debt, your loans, maybe your car loans, your school loans, maybe credit cards to like the different malls and the shopping centers out there. You want to actively know that you have a holistic picture as to what your finances look like at the end of the year before you get into the new year. That is going to be the very first thing you have to make sure you are in the know before you walk into the new year. You don't want to wake up and get into the year 2025 and for some reason you're like, I don't even know how much I owe. Or for some reason you're like, I don't even know what I have saved. What if something emergency should happen? Where are you going to be able to take the finances to finance for that? So you accurately want to know the exact amount that is in your savings, the exact amount that comes in as your source of income, and the exact amount that goes out as your expenses monthly, and be able to know what it sums up to at the end of the year. I, for one, I love to write things down because when I write it, I can adequately think of it and remember it in the long run. But when I just think about it and just say, okay, this is the figure, it tends to evaporate from my memory. And so if I want to remember things, I have my planner, which I actually write down these numbers on so that I can have an accurate picture as to the figures that I will be walking into the new year. So make sure that you're taking stock of your income, your expenses, your savings, your debts, and how you plan to be able to finance or how you plan to be able to maneuver all these different buckets coming 2025 or the new year. The next thing on the list is going to be have clear financial goals. If you want to buy a house, let's say you're going for a $250,000 house, you want to be able to tell yourself, hey, the down payment that I can afford for this house is going to be this, whether a 3%, a 5%, a 10%, a 20%. You are not obliged to put a 20%, but it is always advisable to do a 20%. But hey, if you cannot hit that goal of 20% before moving to the house that you want to, you can always do a 3% or 5%. I am not a real estate agent. I must say this as a disclaimer, but if you want an advice on that, make sure to reach out to your real estate agent and they can adequately advise you on what you can comfortably afford. So make sure you're drawing out all those buckets. If you have a debt on a car, what is the debt? 17,000. What is the plan? Every month I want to be able to, pay more than what is expected. Let's say every month you have to pay $250 towards the car debt. Make sure that you're actively adding more than the 250. Maybe for example, you can go 300 or 350. Maybe you have school loans. What is the school loan amount? 23,000. Okay, what do you pay every month? I pay 150. Can you do a 200? Can you do a 250? Because if you do the check and balances and you do the math, let me tell you what, you are actually paying more than, or you're going to be paying more than what you are actually owing on the school loan or on the car loan. And so it's going to be to your own advantage to pay more than what is expected for you to pay every month. So set clear goals, set clear financial goals, and actively work towards them. Let's say you have a credit card for some bag that you bought from a mall, and let's say it costs $2,500. You paid maybe $1,000, it's left $1,500. Can you pay more than the expected $75 a month? Can you maybe pay, instead of a $75, you can do, who knows, maybe a $125, so that you can quickly pay off this debt and save up on the interest that you will be paying that would amount to more than that $1,500 that you expected to pay for that bag. So you want to make sure you're setting clear financial goals and actually consciously work towards them, because I can tell you, if you don't have a picture of what your finances look like, it's going to be very difficult for you to win financially, because you don't even know what you're working towards, you don't even know what you're working with, you don't even know what you're working against, and so you will not even have a clear-cut route on what to do and how to go about it. So setting clear financial goals is going to be a very, very big thing in this situation. So many people hate it when they mention a budget. They feel like a budget is something that caps them from enjoying their life. They feel like a budget is something that restricts them from living the sort of life that they want to do. Who told you that you cannot live the life you want to do even within your budget? Let's take, for example, you have a clear idea as in how much is coming in, and you have a clear idea of what is going out. Every bill has to be paid and what is left behind. Let's take an arbitrary number. Maybe you're getting 5,000 a month from all your sources of income. You actually have to do the math and know the exact figure. But in this case, let us go for like a 5,000, and all your bills come down to 3,000. Okay, now you know you have a balance of 2,000. Can you even just apportion maybe $500 to like miscellaneous? Who knows? There can be an unexpected car tire that you need to change. There can be an unexpected health emergency that comes up. There can be an unexpected something that you need to buy, or some bill that comes up. Maybe the roof is leaking, or maybe some alarm or something that just comes up that you would have to fall back into your budget. And so if you still want to live that life that you want to live, it is still okay for you to be able to put it into your budget. Like I just said, in my own budget, I have a miscellaneous that I keep for, anything that can happen, and I also have a set amount that is kept for what I need to spend on my on my spare time. So that doesn't mean that if I have a budget, it kind of takes away the fun of me living my life. You can still actually factor in the fun aspects of your life into your budget. But what entails a budget? Like I earlier said, a budget is you knowing how much comes in, how much goes out in terms of your expenses, how much you're saving, how much is left for you to maybe play around with whatever you want, and how much you can actively invest in whatever investment bucket you choose to invest in. So make sure that a budget is something that you are going to hold on, you're going to cling on to, and make sure that you follow it very religiously, because it has saved me a lot of money. When I actively started budgeting, it gave me a conscious knowledge, hard figure of what goes out and what comes in. And at any given time, if you should ask me, okay, what is it that comes in, what is it that goes out, I can tell you. I know many people, or our very popular Dave Ramsey is going to say you have to budget in accordance to what the month is, because take for example, December's budget might be very different from, who knows, maybe like a January budget. December people tend to spend a lot, they have so many gifts to give, so your budget might be slightly different from a January budget wherein you just came back from spending so much and it is time for you to like take a step back and reassess your finances and be able to make like some sacrifices or some cuts in some financial aspect of your budget. And so you can actively and consciously kind of put together your budget to be able to suit the sort of life that you want. And for married couples out there, I always think that it is advisable for you to sit down with your spouse and talk it out. Make sure that you guys are incorporating each other's chores and things that you guys love, and come together with a family budget, because it doesn't make sense for the husband to have their own budget and the wife to have their own budget. You guys have to come together and make the budget as a family. So budgeting is a very, very big thing and a very important aspect of financial independence and financial winning if you really want to get to that point. The next thing on my list is going to be an emergency fund. Like I said, life happens, things happen, and you can never tell when those things are going to happen. And so for you to be able to escape that embarrassment of something happening to you and you are not financially ready to take care of that thing, you want to make sure that you're actually having an emergency fund. Now, there's no way you'll be able to ascertain or calculate or know what your emergency fund is if you don't already understand the aspect of budgeting, if you don't already understand the aspect of how much comes in, how much goes out, and how much can I save, how much can I invest. Now, if you already know how much your bills are for the month, then that is already a start for you to already be one step ahead of the game when it comes to emergency fund. It is always advisable that you should have an emergency fund that entails 3 to 6 months of your monthly budget. Let's say, for example, your monthly budget or your monthly expenses comes to $3,000. Every bill that you get to pay amounts to $3,000 every month. So if you are comfortable doing a 3 months, then you will know that your emergency fund should be $9,000. If you are comfortable doing a 6 months, then you should know that $18,000 is a comfortable spot for you to be able to, build up as an emergency fund. I can tell you, some people even go as high as 9 months, some people even go as high as 1 year. But the average, the advice for everyone is to hit a 3 to 6 months, and I think that you will be very golden, you will be good. Take for example, out of the blue, the tire of your car just bursts or something just happens to your car, the engine, or maybe you had an accident and you need to go fix something in the car. Hey, where are you going to be able to get that money to be able to fix the car? Now, if you don't have an emergency fund, how are you going to maneuver yourself? You will find yourself swiping your credit card just for some emergency, and that is going to increase your debt even more, and it's going to increase the interest rate on your debt on that credit card. But if you already had an emergency fund, it's just going to be for you to just go pull some of the money out of the emergency fund, and then maybe next month you work towards replacing or replenishing that emergency fund. So many people think that an emergency fund is not necessary, but I can tell you that it is very, very necessary. And I always advise that if you want to have an emergency fund, do not keep it in just any kind of account. Make sure you're keeping it in a high yield savings account. If you don't know what that means, you can Google it up, and there's going to be so many high yield savings accounts out there that you can actually save this money in, that can actually give you some money back as interest. A traditional bank is going to be giving you an interest rate of 0.001, or maybe there's more zeros in front of the 1, but a high yield savings account, there are high yield savings accounts there that are 2%, 3%, 4%, there's even some as high as 5%. Can you compare that to a 0.001% that the traditional bank accounts out there are actually going to be giving you? Let's say your emergency fund is, let's give it a round figure, $10,000. Can you do the math of 0.001% on 10,000 on a traditional bank account, as opposed to maybe a 5%, or worst case scenario, a 3 or 4% of that 10,000 in a high yield savings account? And so if you have to, you have to have an emergency fund. And so if you want to keep that emergency fund, I would advise that you open or you look into having a high yield savings account where you can store that money in there, and the money can be making you some money whilst it's just in there for you when you have that emergency. The next thing on the list is going to be for you to look at your investment buckets. What investments are actually bringing you money? How much money is it bringing? Maybe there's another investment that you have been told about, or maybe your financial advisor has advised you that you can go for it. You want to weigh the pros and cons of these investments and be able to say, last year or this year 2024, I actually invested 10,000 in these, and so far for the 11 months I have actually seen maybe just $600. But if maybe I had put this same money into this other investment car or vehicle, maybe I could have had more than this. So you want to be looking around into your investment buckets. Which ones are actually bringing you good investment returns? Which ones are actually giving you a slow return? which ones are not giving you anything significant, which ones are actually losing. So it is going to be this time that you have to be looking and doing your maths and making sure that you are balancing things out for your own good. The next thing on the list is going to be focus on a debt reduction plan. Take, for example, you have a car loan out there that is 17,000, for example. It is now at this point that you have to actively come up with strategies on how you're going to quickly pay off this car loan, because like I earlier mentioned, the interest on these loans are so high that if you pay off these loans before the set time, you are actually going to be saving a lot of money. Take, for example, when I first heard this, I actually had to go and do the math on my school loan, and tell you what, I didn't actually go and do the calculation in terms of what I will pay in the long run. I went ahead to look at what is the extra thing I am paying a month just by paying just what is needed for me to be able to pay my school loan. And do you know how much I was paying extra just for the interest? I kid you not, $45, and I was so mad. And so it has been my goal for me to actively put in more than what is needed for me to be able to pay off my loan. And so let's take, for example, instead of me paying $100, which obviously is more than that, I actively now start paying even more than two. Some months I'll pay like 1.5 times what is expected, and I've seen that the amount of money that I could have been paying in the long run has drastically reduced. If you're having any other debts, maybe some shopping center credit card, actively come up with a plan to be able to pay this off as fast as you can. This is the time when you have to strategize. You have to have plans in place, ready, set, go for the beginning, the start of the year 2025, if your goal is to win financially in 2025. I cannot even emphasize the next point more than what I keep telling people. Negotiate your bills. Negotiate certain things that you want to buy. Some people think that because a car has been tagged $6,000, you know, cars are more than that, but let's just go for that arbitrary number. Let's say a car has been tagged to cost $6,000. You don't have to kind of negotiate the prices. Says who? Worst case scenario, even if you should negotiate it and they don't want your price and you still love the car, you still want to go for it, at least you will still negotiate it. There is no harm in trying to negotiate for the price of that car. Always make sure that you're negotiating. I'm going to tell you, when I had to get my current car and the price of which I was told, I told them that, hey, you know what, this same car, I've seen it at a certain other car dealership, and if you are ready to give me this amount for this car because I've seen the same car, same specs in another car dealership, then I'm going to be able to pay this car, and then we call it a deal. And so due to the back and forth negotiation and talking, we had to meet on the middle ground, and I paid less than what was expected of me to pay for this car. If you don't talk, you won't have what you need. Ask and it shall be given to you. Sometimes though, especially when it comes to negotiating, do you want to tell me that you want to buy a house and you're not going to make some negotiations? If you can negotiate when you have to buy your house, what stops you from negotiating when you want to buy a car? What stops you from negotiating when you have to maybe like go to T-Mobile and tell them, hey, I've seen another phone carrier service and I'm actively thinking of moving over to them. Can you try to do something to be able to bring down my monthly phone bill? And I can tell you, I am someone who has done that, and tell you what, they brought it down by $5 a month. Can you beat that? $5 every month. Can you do the math? That is $60 I'm saving every year just because I negotiated on my phone bills. So there is no shame in negotiating. I know that so many people don't want to negotiate because they feel like there's some stigma when it comes to negotiating, but hey, who cares? This is some extra money that you could use for something else which you're going to keep in your pocket. And if for some reason you don't have anything that you really need to use the money for, why not just throw it into your emergency fund, or why not just throw it into some investment bucket that you have at the side, and who knows, that $60 can yield you something bigger than even the $60. So make sure that you're negotiating on your bills, make sure you're negotiating on things that you want to actively buy. The next thing on my list is going to be make sure you're trying to actively increase your sources of income. Some people just think that because they have a job, maybe they are working as a nurse, the only thing that they can do is just work as a nurse. Hey, who is telling you that you cannot pick up maybe some extra shifts? Who is telling you that you cannot maybe go pick up another job at another hospital? Who says that you cannot start an online store? Who says that you cannot start a YouTube channel? Who says that you cannot start a side hustle? Maybe you're very good at doing nails. Maybe you're very good at doing makeup. Maybe you're very good at doing eyelashes. Maybe you're very good at something else. Maybe there's some skill that you have. Maybe you're good at cooking, for example. Maybe you have some spare time you can actually babysit. Or maybe for some reason you can actually speak another language. What stops you from teaching other students who actively want to learn that language? Or maybe there is something that you can craft and you can sell online on Etsy, on Shopify. What stops you from having other side incomes? I want to tell you that 2025 should be the year where you are increasing your income bucket, you are increasing your number of sources of income. It should be that year that you are sitting and you are asking yourself, what is that skill that I can monetize? What is that skill that can actually fetch me a good chunk of change? What is that skill that if I should, tell people that I can do this and I can do that, they're actually going to pay for, so that I can actually increase my source of income? I can tell you that there is nobody who is set or who can only have one side income. We are actually made to be able to have the ability to have more than one side income or more than one source of income. Take, for example, you have a professional education on something, maybe finances. Who said that you cannot have a side hustle where you are actively educating people on how to save money or how to invest? You are a nurse. Who told you that you cannot actively educate people on how to better understand their diet, how to take their medications and be paid for? Who said that as a mechanic you cannot work in your mechanic shop and as a side hustle you are actively telling people that, hey, if they have a flat tire somewhere, they can call you and you can come and change it, or you can even teach people on how to change car tires? I, for one, I don't know if I should have a flat tire. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I probably will have to be calling the nearest person who can come and help me out. But hey, if you're a mechanic out there and you can teach me how to change my tire, why not? I'm going to pay you for your services and I'm going to learn that, and I'm going to be able to save me that money by calling those people to come and change my tire. That is a win-win for us both. Everybody has an extra skill or something else they can do aside their principal or their main source of income. So increase your net of the number of sources of income that you will be having coming 2025. The next thing on my list, which I love so much, is saving automatically. Look, let me tell you something. Just set your paycheck, your savings account. You already know that savings account. Your paycheck is coming. This amount of money is coming into this account that pays out all my bills, and this particular amount is coming into this account that is meant for just my savings, and this particular amount is coming into this account that is meant for my investment. You want to make sure that you're automating your savings automatically. You don't want to think it, you don't want to double think it, you don't want to even know that it even exists. Let me tell you, if there is anything that you have to put an extra effort to be able to do it, if you even take away that aspect of knowing that you are actively going to be saving, it's going to relieve you that stress of like, I should actually go in and punch in. Let me save $500 into this account. Let me do this into this account. At the end of the year, when you are automatically just doing your savings, you'll be so surprised to see that, hey, how come I saved $1,200 at the end of the year? Wow, this is actually good. It's going to be a very pleasant surprise for you. So automate your savings. It's going to be very, very helpful, and it's going to be a pleasant surprise at the end of the year. Trust me, it's going to be a beautiful surprise. The next thing on my list is going to be educate yourself. Look, you cannot do and win in what you don't know. So make sure that you're actively educating yourself. There's going to be so many books out there, so many YouTube videos that you can watch, books you can read, so many books on Amazon that you can buy, used, new. There is no excuse for not educating yourself. The best investment you can do for yourself is to educate yourself. So make sure you're buying books, you're actually exposing yourself to financial aspects of, maybe life insurance or savings savings or high yield savings account. Who knows? Maybe this is the first time that you're hearing something about a high yield saving account. So educate yourself more on some of these things that you hear and you're like, I heard this from this person. What were they actually saying? Let me go and Google it. Let me see if there is a book out there that can actually explain this thing to me. Don't you want to win financially? If you really want to win financially, then the very first step into achieving that goal is to educate yourself. The next thing on my list is going to be for you to review your insurance coverage. I know insurance is a very big thing. Your health insurance, maybe your dental insurance, your vision, or whatever insurances you have, your car insurance, your house insurance. Make sure that you're actively reviewing it. If there's any way that you can save on any of the insurances that you're paying, make sure that you're actively doing that. If there's any way you can increase the coverage of your insurance, make sure that you're actively doing that. You wouldn't want a situation wherein your house burns down and then for some reason they come and they tell you that, hey, they can only insure this because this is what you have actively been paying for and you have not been paying for the full package. So make sure that you are getting an in-depth knowledge of what your insurance is and what you're paying for every month. Tax planning. Isn't Uncle Sam the biggest uncle we have in the United States? Tax is a very big thing in the United States, and so it is going to be for your own interest to be able to understand what taxes are, how you can save on your taxes. Maybe you want to become self-independent or you want to have a business. How can you save up on your taxes? What can you write off as your expenses and all of those things. So make sure that you're understanding taxes. If this is a very difficult topic for you to understand, I know that when I started, exposing myself to financial things, tax was one of those topics that I was very intimidated by. And so I took out time to watch a lot of YouTube videos, read books, ask questions. And even though I'm not 100% there, I can tell you that I'm not as blank as I was when I started my journey into financial education. And so make sure that you're understanding your tax system, you're understanding how the person who files your tax, what they're actually doing and what maybe they are forgetting to do. Ask questions. A mouth that doesn't open up and ask questions will never know answers to what they actually want to know. So make sure you're asking lots and lots of questions. The next thing on my list is going to be for you to declutter your finances. Look, sometimes we have a lot of paperwork in our houses that are covering some kind of financial details of certain things. Maybe the paperwork that you bought your house, the paperwork that you bought your car, maybe the paperwork that you bought something big, your phone, who knows. Make sure that you're decluttering and you're putting everything in a separate file or folder. Make sure that you're knowing what you have to look out for or where to go to if you need information regarding something, and know where to keep it that is going to be safe. So declutter your finances, keep everything separate, keep all your tax paperwork separate, your health paperwork separate, keep everything that entails any financial involvement in somewhere safe and somewhere separate, that you know that, hey, if I have any questions, if any questions should come up, I know where to go to and I know where to find the answers for those questions. So start decluttering your financial paperwork and making sure that they are safe and you know where to get them. The very next thing is going to be tracking your expenses. I know that at the beginning I said you have to know what is coming in and coming out, but hey, expenses are the most thing that will take or suck up all your money from your account. If you don't have an idea of how much is going out, there's no way you'll be able to keep up with how much you have to save, how much you have to, throw into your investment bucket. So keep track, like religiously keep track of your expenses. You have to know that, hey, on this month, I actively spent $250 in a restaurant. On this month, I actually spent maybe $300 in a restaurant. Why was there a $50 difference? Could it be that it was when I did this, or maybe when I ordered some extra dessert or something? Actively make sure that you are investing yourself solely into tracking your expenses, because when you know what you're overspending on, it is easy for you to say, hey, I think that this is what I can actually cut off and this I can save into my savings bucket or in my investment bucket that will actually yield me more money as opposed to taking out money from my pocket. So track your expenses religiously. I know that so many people are going to say, this is being very petty. But let me tell you, if you don't track it, you will not know how to save and how to, follow up your money and make sure that that money is making money for you. Because let me tell you one thing about money. Money likes, and money is going to always come back to the people who pay attention to it. If you don't know that, if you don't pay attention to your money is not going to come back to you. If you just live a careless life and you don't know where your money is going to, how your money is going to, then that money is not going to come back to you. You want to treat your money as your employees. Let them work for you and make you that money that you want to make at the end of the day. My next thing and the last thing on my list is going to be make sure that you're celebrating small wins. If you have several credit cards and you've actively finished paying one credit card, you want to celebrate those small wins. If you finish paying off your car, you want to celebrate those wins, because let me tell you, we humans, we thrive on being celebrated. We thrive on positivity. If there's something that is going to encourage you or push you to, make sure that you're actively doing that repetitive thing, it's going to spur you to walk in that direction. Like I said, I know of so many people who have paid off maybe like store credit card, and do you know how much that has pushed them or propelled them to be able to actively put in more effort to be able to pay off other credit cards? Actively take into consideration celebrating those small wins, because it is from those small wins that you become even much more aware in making sure that you're putting so much effort to winning in those bigger ones. Thank you all for staying right up to the end. I hope that all these points that I made were very, very, enlightening and eye-opening to you. If you found this video very educative, drop in the comment section what you want to add into this, and what are your plans into moving into the year 2025. What are the things that you have actively been taking out? What are the things that you are actively planning on doing for 2025? Let us chit chat and let me know where you're actually watching my video from. Are you in the US? Are you in Canada? Are you in Africa, Australia, or in Europe? Let us know how your own financial system looks like, and let's just know how it is different from that in the US. And thank you so much again for watching right up to the end. And from me to you, I'll see you all in my next one. Bye guys, and stay blessed. Peace out.